Tonight is the Kingdom Seneschal, Sir Tiberius Finn, and the Kingdom Exchequer, Mistress Cara DuValier. And featuring a live performance by Caid's own Dylyedog Dedwydd verch Gwallter. And me, I'm your announcer, Bjorn of the Northern Sea, tripping up on my Welsh. And here's your host, Master Laertes McBride.
Good evening. There's nothing worse than tripping on your Welsh. It can be painful. Hey, thank you for joining us this evening. Hope you had a good week off. We did. And heading into another holiday weekend. Just a couple of Caid-specific announcements to keep you in the know. Don't forget that coronation is coming up on Saturday, July 10th, and the wonderful barony of the winter mist, although you won't see either of those terms in July. Also follow the next week on Sunday, July 18th. The Queen's Champion Ranged event is scheduled. And then the following Saturday, we will have Queen's Champion Martial. And that's going to be in the barony of Gildenholt. So big events coming up. Hope y'all can make it. Don't forget, when it comes to coronation, the venue is requiring pre-registering and capping attendance at 250 people. So go to the Facebook event site for it and be sure to pre-reg, because it's not ours, it's the venue that's making that happen. Let's go ahead and bring in Bjorn and see how he's doing. He'll be here in just one. Hey Bjorn.
How are you doing?
I'm good. It's amazing what a week off will do.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Although your presence was missed. So
yeah, everyone enjoys my presence. But we were up in Yellowstone Park.
Yes,
Yellowstone.
We also saw a lot of giant skulls, or no, that's Rushmore.
Yes. We went to Yellowstone, then Rushmore, then Crazy Horse, Black Hills, Little Bighorn, and Casper, Wyoming, which is they have an international airport which has 3 gates. So international, I guess that means they, I don't know, maybe they go to Canada. Who knows? But it was a fantastic trip. And hopefully people here, we gifted with the first episode of What Is It? That we did for Bardic War. And I hope you had an opportunity to watch that. It was a lot of fun. We have 2 more episodes that we'll be rolling out over the summer as we take more time off. I think that's all I got. Got anything, Bjorn?
It sounds like you had a great time going to almost every possible place you could have been an extra in any Western for the last 60 years. So that it just sounds fantastic.
Oh, yeah. If you have never been to Yellowstone, I highly recommend that one goes. Actually, there's a new, now this is going to sound like a sponsorship, but there's a new Value Airlines flying out of Burbank goes directly to Bozeman, which is like 30 minutes outside Yellowstone. And it's like a nickel. I think they charge more if you want to breathe on the flight. But other than that, it's really cheap. And yeah, you should try it. Anyway, so I understand you have some science websites for us this week.
I do indeed, sir. Thank you so very much. So let's talk for just a second, if we could, folks, about some of the important things that have happened over this past couple of weeks. Now, we talked a little bit about Pride. We've talked a little bit about the things that are going on in the world right now. And then we took a week off, but that wasn't really a week off, because one of the other things that happened was Father's Day. And in particular, there was an article that was written not too long ago about the relationship between fathers and sons in the Greek epics, in particular the Iliad and the Odyssey. And it is a very thoughtful and thought-provoking article. And it just, the person in question is a scholar of ancient Greek poetry. They talk about the gamut of how the interactions are between fathers and sons, whether it is Priam begging Achilles to return the body of Hector, or later on, and I had to bring this up since you are his namesake, when Odysseus meets his father Laertes And Laertes doesn't believe it's him until they actually talk about the trees that they planted together and their names. And it almost sounds as if it's a kind of a deconstructing, getting your bearings, almost like a talking through, like even the ancient Greeks understood what PTSD was. It is not necessarily going to be the easiest of reads for some folks, especially if you've lost a parent. But I do think it is an excellent article, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. The second one is a little bit lighter, and it is essentially, how did the months get their names? Now, it goes into detail about originally the Roman calendar was 10 months and then 2 dead months. And I say dead months because it was the winter months, and they didn't bother doing anything in those months because there was no military activities going on. So they just basically had 1 through 10, and then that was it. And it goes into detail about how Julius Caesar allegedly spoke with Sosigenes of Alexandria to how to design it. It even talks about how the Julian calendar kind of got moved a little bit in the Gregorian calendar, going from 365.25 days a year to 365.2425 days a year, which I guess makes it much easier to have the leap years and have Easter fall where it's supposed to. And it just is a really good article to figure out, why is it July when originally it was Quintilis? And I think people will enjoy it. I hope that you enjoy it. And those are the 2 websites we have for this week.
Nice. I'm still here. Hold on. Hi. I gotta take a week off and I start clicking stuff. So, I would enjoy a 4th of Quintilis, though. Wouldn't that be a great little celebration?
Yeah, 4th of Quintilis a 4th of Quintilis almost sounds like a drink.
It's true. Well, that's appropriate. And you may not know Samantha's middle name is Odysseus, so we can have those conversations. Samantha Odysseus. It's sweet.
That is fantastic.
No, it's not. All right. So who do we have coming up on the show this evening?
We are very fortunate in that we have with us today 2 of the greater officers for the Kingdom of Caid. We have our Kingdom Seneschal, Sir Tiberius Finn, and we also have the Kingdom Exchequer, Mistress Cara DuValier. And just really, really excited to hear the things that they're going to be telling us about how we gradually reopen.
Right. All right. Well, let's get them on. There we go. They're going to be on just now. Hello.
Hey.
Oh my gosh.
Hello.
I was talking earlier. I think you're going to be considered a regular performer on this show, Sir Tiberius. You're here often enough. So, not a complaint, just an observation.
Yeah. We're just here in the background. We have a rules answer. Right?
Let's see what the judges say.
Yeah.
As we've been going through and slowly doing the reopening throughout the kingdom and across the known world, things seem to be changing on a every other day basis. So I know that both of you must be very busy about it. And that's one of the reasons we thought it'd be a great idea to get you to come on, because even though we reopened on June 1st, things have changed in those few weeks we've been, and are going to be different for us in July and continue to evolve. So we're just kind of looking for some guidance to the viewers in here in the kingdom and beyond about what really lies ahead. So I guess we'll start with you first, Sir Tiberius, about what's going to happen on July 1st that's going to be different than what we're involved with right now.
So what's going to happen on July 1st is we are going to get our new kingdom guidelines. So we just had our kingdom meeting with a bunch of officers over the last couple days. I mean, today's Monday, so it was yesterday. Time, it's funny. So there have been a bunch of rules. As everybody's seen with the Google Doc we have online, it has all of our kingdom rules that have started from June 1st all the way up until now. So on July 1st, what's going to happen is we're going to kind of get a 2.0 of that rule set. And it's going to cover what we're going to be able to do. And really, a lot of the restrictions that have been on the kingdom are going to be removed. So as of the board variance that was granted on May 25th, what's going to happen is there's only like 3 or 4 rules that are really going to be in place. So that the first one is the mask mandate. And so people have been asking, what is the kingdom going to do for a mask mandate? On July 1st, the mask is going to be removed for the kingdom rules. So you no longer have to wear a mask at events unless the venue requires it or state and local guidelines require it. The SCA is no longer going to require that we wear masks. Then we're going to have a bunch of food rules. And so I know there's already a lot of rules and kind of restrictions on what we're allowed to do with A&S in regards to feasts and servings and at events with water bearing and everything there. Right now, you can go on the guidelines and see what's going on. We'll have an updated version of that on July 1st. Essentially, right now, there are no feasts. There are no, the event cannot provide food in an open buffet style or in an open gathering thing. We are allowed to do single self-serving style things. So if there's like prepackaged chips and water bottles and things like that, we can do that. And there are a bunch of kind of little variances we've asked for, like, hey, if there's an arts and sciences food competition or a tournament and we want to compete in that, can we provide little servings of that and give that to people so the judges can test it and perform in the tournament or in the competition? That is allowed as long as it's for the competition purposes in there. So we'll have kind of all of that laid out in those guidelines on July 1st. And then the SCA is no longer going to require pre-registration, which that has been a big thing that the kingdom has been doing over the last month with the Google Forms, with SCARs, and everything like that. So we're no longer going to require that. But what we have informed all the territories is that we really, really, really want to encourage everybody to keep using these. So we have the Google Doc, we have SCARs, we have these programs. And every group is going to be able to kind of use those how they want so they can make sure that we are gathering the information, because what the SCA is going to require is we have to have the contact information just in case of contact tracing, right? So it's going to be your name, your SCA name, your email, your phone number. And that's currently already being gathered before the event. And the Seneschal is only allowed to keep that for 60 days. So there's a Google form or all these different things which we can use, but there will be signups at the gate too if that's allowed. But we really want to encourage groups to use this online pre-reg system so that we don't have to have so much congestion at gate when people show up and sign their email and do all these things. So that's what everything's going to look like. Right now, if you go into the Kingdom guidelines, there's a lot going on. We're going to have kind of a new form for that. There's a lot more, but that's kind of like the light version, is that we're only going to be requiring these things. So there's been the attendance limit for 150. That's going to go away. And meaning that the SCA is not going to put a restriction on attendance. It's only going to come down to the venue. So, for example, Coronation has a 250-person limit because of the venue. So that's when we would then have a 250-person limit. But outside of that, there aren't going to be any restrictions from the society on that. Also, we've had a rule where whatever the highest tier in the kingdom, that's where we're all going to be at. That was removed as well. There's a couple other ones that are going to go away. But essentially, that's what we're going to be going to. So we should be in a much more relaxed, but at the same time, still taking care to make sure that we are being safe at events.
Okay. And, if people opt to wear a mask, they're more than welcome to wear masks.
100%. Yes.
Right? Because it's still a personal choice at that point.
And they totally should. I still wear my mask when I'm out in public too, even though, all that stuff there. So everybody should feel free to do what makes them feel comfortable, as long as we're following state and local guidelines.
Awesome. And, oh gosh, I had another good question too. Oh, okay. So speaking of taking capacity off and such, and I know it's still early, but a lot of planning is still going on. Is there any other type of concerns or restrictions that are currently in place as we look forward to Great Western War?
No. I mean, if we're going to get into it, and Cara's going to laugh, right? If we hit 5,000 people for Great Western War, then we're going to qualify for California's mega event category, which let's not do that, please. It's just a lot of work for everybody involved. Don't do that. So that's the only restriction that we've been able to really find that kind of puts it into place. Obviously, for local guidelines, there are some places where some parks have had limits of like 100 and stuff like that. But as long as your seneschal talks to the rangers and figures out what's best, you should be in a good boat.
Great. And we'll get to Cara in just a second because I feel bad. She's just sitting there very patiently. Speaking of wars, what about Highland War? Is it going to happen? I haven't seen the calendar.
Oh, so we've been talking with the stewards for that, and I'm sure they'll have more. They're just getting caught up on all the new guidelines for how to register and everything. There, we'll have that up very soon. But I don't want to take away their announcement, but Highland War will be happening in some capacity.
Okay.
Right. So
cool. I like to go sweat. So
let's go outside then, right? We're good to go.
So, Mistress Cara, when we were just talking with Sir Tiberius, he mentioned the SCARS system, which I think is probably the worst acronym you could come up with for a system, right? Because, hey, show me your SCARS registration. I don't want to see what the people are going to do at Caid. But do you want to talk a little bit about SCARS and how it's going to impact events and such going forward?
Certainly. SCARS is the strength of the system is large, complex events where there are a lot of options when you're registering for instance, different cabins or different areas or different bunks in a cabin or rooms in a cabin. Those kinds of complex registration events, SCARS is better suited to those. For small town, fight practice or business meetings, it's kind of overkill to use SCARS, but that doesn't mean you can't use it. You can use SCARS for those smaller events. It's just a matter of what your group and your financial committee chooses to do.
So for those that aren't familiar with this, what exactly is SCARS? What's it do? What's the tool do for people?
It's tied to the society's membership payment system. So it uses the SCA.org website. You log into your membership account. If you're not a member, you can create a guest account, and you can look at all of the events that are using SCARS for registration across the society. So, for instance, if I wanted to go to Gulf Wars, I would click on Glenabon and go there and find the war and register online. Once you log in, once you sign in, it's tied to your membership, so it knows that you're a paid member or an expired member. It knows your birth date, it knows your address and your email address and all of that information. So, for instance, I can go in and register my entire family. I'm a member. Some of my family are not. Some are children. Some are adults. So I can, mix that all together in one registration. And we can come and go at different times of the event. If there's a discount, if you come late in the event, you can enter the date that you plan to arrive and you pay the reduced fee. So it's very good at tracking all of that. Also, the flexibility of being able to modify your registration is all on the user. So if, for instance, one of my family members can't attend the event, I can go in, I can remove them from my registration, and then I get a notice appears on my account that I'm due a credit. So then that is forwarded to the event exchequer, and the exchequer would then refund me for my registration that I canceled. There are no electronic refunds. Everything has to be through the group's bank account, and they will write you a check and mail it to you.
So we have someone that just wants to see. Could we share your screen? Do you want to pull it up right quick and see if we can
Certainly
do that? just do a very quick little walkthrough so people can get familiar with it. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I'll tell you when I see it. Oh, there we go. Let's put it up here.
So as you can see, this is just the main SCA.org website. And we now have an event registration link. And I have not signed in, so it's going to show me all the kingdoms in this dropdown. If I had signed in first, it would have taken me direct to Caid. So I simply scroll down. Caid doesn't currently have any events set up in Scars, but the middle does. So let's go and look at the middle. And you can see they've got their crown tourney set up, and they've got the Hunt for the White Stag event set up. So then I choose which event, you know, double check the dates, and this is just a short little blurb. And I can click on more event details to confirm this is really what I want to do. I'm ready to make this payment, and I can go in and register. One thing to keep in mind, if you're registering someone who is a member, you'll need to have their membership number, their last name, and for non-members, you'll need their birth date to register them. So you can see here it's asking me to sign in. I don't want to register for Crown. I don't want to mess up their numbers in the mid-realm, so I'm not going to do that right now. But that's how you get to it. And once you click register, it will automatically select for me a member price and an adult price, because that has my data on file. And then I can go through and add all of my family members and choose the options for each person in the registration. At the end, I'm provided a order number, which I recommend everyone write down your order number. And then you will receive a confirmation email.
Okay.
So whatever email address you have entered, you will get a confirmation email. And for children, I really recommend that you use the adult's email address, not the child's, so that you can track your children's confirmations.
Right. And so this is available to any local geopolitical unit that wants to use it for their event. Is that correct? And
that is true.
And do they contact your office if they want to get hooked up for it, or how would you do that?
Kingdom has a Scars deputy, and the contact information is on the Kingdom website. And if a group is interested in using Scars for their event, they can reach out to our Kingdom deputy, and she will take care of it.
So who is our Kingdom deputy, or is it a secret?
No, it's not a secret. It's Kimmy LaSalle. I'm not going to try.
That's who asked for a demo. You know, you asked for a demo. You should know where it's at. Oh, she's probably just got the problem. You know what? So we haven't had you on really briefly. So just a quick couple of questions, and then we'll get back to Tiberius, who's here all the time. So how long have you been Kingdom Exchequer?
I stepped up in January, just before the COVID shutdown in March. So
probably not exactly the job flow you thought it was going to be.
Not at all. Not at all what I expected. And there's been a lot of planning, and then new rules come down from the board, so all that planning goes in the trash can and we start over. There's been a lot of that. I do have one more thing I'd like to announce.
Sure.
Something that is common across the rest of the society, but not so common yet here in Caid, is the ability to pay with a credit card at the gate for events. So we now will have PayPal here. And if an event would like to accept credit cards at gate, they reach out to our PayPal deputy, and we will arrange to have authorized users who can take credit cards at gate. So this cuts down on handling of cash. You slide your own card. We don't have to handle your card. There is a little bit of contact you do have to sign, or but it's very minimal. So we're very excited about rolling that out too. So as long as your event has Wi-Fi or cellular service, we can provide credit card payment at the gate.
Yeah, I remember growing up listening to the tales about the PayPal deputy and their adventures across the lands. So that's exciting to be in that position. Yeah.
I haven't heard those stories.
So mythical tales of the PayPal deputy.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and bring Sir Tiberius back on, because previously it sounded like they were constructing a rocket in your house.
Yeah, so now that people can gather again, I host a Monday Pell practice.
Oh.
So there's a bunch of people just smacking on pool noodles out there, but yeah, I wouldn't close the door, so they're a little quieter now. And I gave them like an angry face, so they knew I was doing this. So I don't do an angry face well, so they laughed, but it's a.
Well, I'm going to step out for a minute and bring Bjorn in with some much better questions than mine. So here he comes.
Well, I don't know about the better questions. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, Sir Tiberius, and we touched on this briefly the last time we conversed about it, because things being so in transience as they are. So right now, for food, single servings of prepackaged food. Now, if someone has, say, a California food handler's card or the California food manager's card, so in other words, they would be someone that would have all the necessary certificates by the state of California to safely handle and dispense with food. Would that then be something we could look into, possibly?
Yes.
To start with things? I mean, because many of people like me who have worked in the restaurant industry or do work in the restaurant industry, things are kind of they've actually put a hold on some of us for our food handlers cards. Like if they were going to expire, they've given a grace period for those until we can take the tests again and whatnot. I was just curious what might be done for folks that want to continue to assist dispensing food to the populace.
So right now, there have been a lot of questions about what we can do with arts and sciences in relation to food, those are all good questions. I would definitely feel that the current reopening rules are more slanted toward armored combat than they are arts and sciences. And we want to make sure that we can address that so everybody can go back to their SCA, what they enjoy. So we've had a lot of questions come through, and we've been able to ask for variances and interpretations from society, and they've been able to help pretty quick with a yes or not right now, or here's where that line lies. So if anybody has any questions about what they would like to do for an event or a gathering or a thing there, I'm happy to go up the channel and see what we can make happen. There are some definite no's, so like big feasts and things like that we can't do. But as a heads up as well, on July 18th, the board will be having their next meeting, and there are going to be a lot of questions that have come up over the last month that I, fingers crossed, hope will be addressed at this meeting, so we will have more definitive answers from the BOD and less interpretations from the Seneschal.
Which is understandable. I mean, I think that's one of the things that folks may forget, is that because it is an international entity that has to deal with not just local ordinances, but governmental ordinances, it's not an easy task, but I'm glad that they'll be meeting as quickly as they are. So hopefully that'll also give some clarification to the rulings that you're going to have to put down at the kingdom level. Mistress Cara, I've actually seen scars used in a lot of other kingdoms. Like, when I go back home to Meridies and Glenavon, they have used the scar system for quite some time, especially in Glenavon for Gulf Wars, because of how large that event is. Was there a reluctance on the part of Caid as an entity to embrace it earlier, or did we need to see it in motion in other kingdoms before we brought it into the fold here?
The software was released by the Society Treasurer and Exchequer and Caid was on board at the very beginning. This has been a system that is, as you mentioned, it's a long time coming, and Gulf Wars was an experimental event. It was pretty much completed with their registration for their event in 2019 when COVID hit, 2020, and they had to cancel the entire event. So it never got to go completely through the process. We have shared a lot of information back and forth with Gulf Wars and their exchequer, so that we could learn from them and save ourselves some growing pains. But we did jump on board as soon as we were able to. As soon as they made the software available to us, we jumped right in.
I do want to apologize about not knowing that, because the last time I went to Gulf Wars, it was hey, we're trying this new thing. Mm-hmm. And so I was unaware that it was a pilot program there. And so thank you for that clarification, because I was about to say anything that would make finances easier for us at the kingdom level. I know you would jump on. I know that all of our people that make those decisions would jump on, just because of how important it is. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Having been on the society level for a little bit while that was going on, it's been really interesting to see kind of the process of how we got here, and everybody on that level try to work the best to figure out what we can do. So while there may be a lot of feedback and thoughts we have as we go forward for that, everybody's welcome to share. We're open to see how we can work best with those things. But this is what we've come to as a society, because as you brought forward, we're not just a one kingdom. We are an international group. So we have to find one system that works for everybody. And this is what we have. And everybody who's working on it is making the best of it. And I'm really excited to see how it's going to be implemented in the larger kingdom.
When I was at Gulf Wars last, and I got a chance to sit in at Troll for a while, because when you're home and you help and you sit and you talk to folks, and while I was there, I volunteered a little bit, because of course I did, and I got a chance to see how things were marked off when people arrived, and it was. I do think that it is going to be a system that will help in the long run for streamlining things, certainly for larger wars and the like. So I'm very excited to see that, and thank you both very much because I honestly think that this will make, from a financial standpoint, it'll make your lives easier, but also I think this is going to assist your successors, the people that will come afterwards. It'll be something that may not require as much of a headache as things in the past have. So I'm really, thank you very much for doing your job, but thank you very, very much for doing a job. So when other folks come, they won't have to do the same job. And I think that's fantastic. But the last question that I have is more of it's a personal thing for each one of you. Now, so Sir Tiberius, you said that you have people that are smacking on pals and the like in the back. And I know that you are a people person. Rather than ask the usual, what do you miss most? What is the first thing that you are going to get back into besides the fighting? What is the first art or service oriented thing, beyond of course being Kingdom Seneschal, that you're really looking forward to sinking your teeth back into in Caid?
Oh man, it's interesting. I kind of joked that my mechanism for coping is making new events and doing new little things like that. So I'll probably find something new to put together, and that we can all have a fun time doing. But really, it's just kind of just getting out there and doing fighter practice. For me was like the best thing ever. When we got to get out there and go to practice, I almost cried on the way to the 1st Brigade practice, because this is something you think about and you're like, oh my gosh, I get to do this again. So we've been SCing so much inside of our own little boxes. It's just been great to be able to kind of see the fruits of our labor as we hang out with our friends and do these things. And so I know our first event was Cara Gwyn, but as we go forward with Coronation, Queen's Champion, and so on, it's just going to be good. So for service, like for what I want to do, there's that. I guess on a personal note, I'm excited to finally have my elevation to Pelican. Though, so we're going to be doing that at Calafia Anniversary this year. So I wanted to make sure that my parents could go, and it wasn't a super long drive for them. So that'll be in November. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
That's going to be fantastic. And Mistress Cara, since you are one of the families of Caid, because of your children and your husband, and so for you, the SCA has been a big thing for such a long time. What are you going to do? What's the first thing you're going to like? Is it time to get some more garb on your husband or on yourself, or what are you really wanting to do now that we're starting to open things up again?
Well, I have started garb, so that's in the works. One of my biggest loves in the SCA has been Great Western War. It was an idea that I kicked around with some friends way back in the day, and I went to the Crown with the idea, and they said, "Give it a shot. Let's see if you can do it." So that's been a lot of fun, and I get to. I can't wait for October, go back to Great Western War, and I'm scheduled to be an autocrat for that event coming up. So it's very exciting.
That's wonderful. I want to, before we bring Laertes back in to do the fun stuff, I just wanted to thank you both so very much. This time obviously has been exceptionally challenging for all of the great officers, but dealing with rules and regulations and finances when there was a dearth of income and information by necessity because of governmental bodies and us not being here. I'm, just when the wheels started turning for both of you, I know they were going very fast, and I want to thank you both so very much for really serving the kingdom and getting us back to where we can feel safe and normal and resume the activities we've all missed for the last 16, 17 months. So thank you both so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I have to say, it's a team effort. We've been very blessed to have the kingdom officers that we have that have been able to do this from literally every role has been dealing with the same things we have, where there's been constant updates and last minute changes, and communication gets a little mixed. So people are going off information from 2 weeks ago, and then everyone's learning at their own pace as well. So the patience that we've had, the communication and understanding, it's just been really, really nice. And we've been able to get as far as we have, as easy as we have, without the amount of work that people have been putting in. It's been long hours. We have a lot of meetings. That's half my fault. But everybody's doing a good job with training and learning. And as Cara said earlier, we learned a whole new system. We trained everybody on all these new systems, and now it's going away too. So we've gone through the whole circus of it, essentially, right?
Yes.
But we're going to be able to come out better for it, and we have built a foundation that for this new SCA that's going to be really exciting. And I think for future generations of these offices and so on, we're going to be in a good boat. And so I'm very thankful to work with people that we've been doing. They're very passionate, experienced, and willing to give their time.
Real quick too, we've been without events for nearly 2 years, and kingdom finances have taken a hit, and it's going to take us time to recover. We've had several years in a row of difficult financial situations, so this has really compounded, what was coming down the road. We kept thinking we can recover next year, and then we got hit with a real problem. So please, everyone, if you hear from me and I ask for you to up that event fee just a smidge so that the kingdom can get a few more dollars, bear with me. It is important. And we can overcome, but we need to keep it in mind.
Buy snow cones.
Buy snow cones.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a given, especially with our I mean, with people.
Those snow cones are a great fundraiser. I bow down to the people who run the snow cone sales. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
But thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
All right. So you got me back. So,
Hey.
I know. So this is part of the show where we play a little trivia game, right? And it rarely has anything really to do with what we've been talking about. So Bjorn, what is the name of this week's game?
The game our two guests will be playing is What's in a Name?
Right. So we were just talking about what a horrible acronym SCARS is, right? So I'm gonna put up some acronyms for you. Describe what they are, and you have to tell me if it's an actual acronym for what I'm describing it for or not. So we'll start kind of straightforward, and then y'all get a vote. Yes, it's real or not. Are we good with this so far? Okay, so here's the first one. The first one is SGRM. So does SGRM as an acronym, when you're texting someone, stand for sounds good to me? True or false?
False.
True.
Oh, okay, so I will give that to Tiberius. It is true.
Oh.
So yes, so there you go. Okay, let's see when we have the next one. Okay, so the next one is T-BAG. So does it stand for
Yes.
Tempe Bicycle Action Group? Is that what someone have that out there for the Tempe Bicycle Action Group? True or false?
Oh boy. I'll say false.
I'm going to say false as well.
You are both incorrect, actually.
Oh no.
That is
That's
their acronym.
fantastic. It makes me so happy.
Go for a ride with T-BAG. So here, next one. AAAAA. Okay, so does that stand for the American Association Against Acronym Abuse? True or false?
True.
I'll say false.
Oh, Tiberius gets another point. That is
Oh,
an
man.
actual organization. So, yeah. Here we go. So this one. Dorks. Is it Department of Republican Kansas Supporters? True or false? Department of Republican Kansas Supporters.
I'll say false.
I'm also going to say false.
Oh, you both get a point. Very nice.
Yay! I got one.
Yay. Okay, I apologize for this one. DTF. Did a department store have it for denim and tees? Finally, was that their campaign?
Probably true.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess it's true.
Yeah, their advertisement was come to our store for DTF. And kids out there, don't look that up. Okay, we got this one.
Good.
Shaq.
Staying PG. I love it.
Yes. So Shaq, Senior Housing Assistance Group. Is there a group that actually advertised as Shaq?
True.
Sure. Yes.
Yes. So seniors go there to, I guess, to learn about shacking. Okay, here's another one. FAP. Is there a state that calls their food assistance program FAP?
True.
Yeah, I will say true.
Yes, that's get your FAP on. We're almost done. I don't know. I'm having fun actually. Don't be. So let's see. Department of Public Entertainers and Yodelers. Is there a group called Dopey?
True.
I'm gonna say false.
Oh, Cara. Oh, you are 1 point away from tying Tiberius.
Oh wow! I got it
all
right.
comes down to this one. This is
There
the
we
last
go.
one.
Okay.
I think this is a Spanish pronunciation. Would be a holy, right? It does stand for Aidenvelt Hospitallers of Legendary Excellence.
I'm gonna say false.
I'm going to say true.
Because you want it to be true.
Heart, Tiberius. You have just brought a little shine. No, it is false. So
Oh, it's okay. I'm going with true anyway. That's funny. Stand by it.
Anyone that watches the show should have known that was coming up. So anyway, y'all tied very nice. Between the both of you, both got 6 of them out of the 9. So
Good thing.
no one can fool you with their acronyms. I didn't know there was a great officer skill. Anyway, I know we have challenging times ahead, but it's getting better. And I'm sure that looking ahead, patience and understanding, I think, is really what comes from the officers. Y'all are just kind of trying to make the best and communicate out and give us information as it comes down, not only from corporate, but through the lens of Crown and the great officers too. So I know it's just kind of like keep doing that tap dance so that we can keep opening safely and get back to the experience we're used to, and perhaps even better with some of the changes that have been going on. I know it's been a load of work for you and your associate great officers and the lesser officers, baronial level. So I just want to echo what Bjorn was saying earlier. Thank you very much for your time, effort, in getting us to this point, and only the better things lie ahead. So.
You're welcome.
All righty, y'all have a great night. Go thwack your people in your backyard and do what the Exchequer does. I figure numbers or something.
I'm going to go look at numbers. Yep.
Oh, fantastic. All right. Y'all have a great night. We'll
Thank
Thank you for having us on.
Of course.
It's always fun.
Oh, great. Thank you. All right. Let's bring back Bjorn. So were you able to guess those acronyms correctly, Bjorn?
I didn't do as well as they did.
Batista was playing along. She did pretty good.
Batista's very intelligent. That only makes sense.
So what is going on with my hair? Anyway, so who do we have coming up next to perform this evening?
Well, we have a former bard of Caid, a Laurel, a Pelican, an all-around wonderful person, and that would be Dylyedog marry to do with verch Gwallter. So our wonderful, wonderful friend and wonderful bard.
All righty, well, let's bring her on. Joining us after it's been like 6 months, something like that. Hello.
Hello.
It's good to see you again.
It is good to see you too.
Oh my gosh. And now we're going to be out and about and see people like for reals.
I don't even know how to deal with that.
I think you were on back in January, so about 6 months ago.
Right. I was on as Pelican Secretary at that point.
Yes, yes. And that was fascinating. I learned a lot.
Oh, good.
So what have you say, how have you been spending your time over the past 6 months as things got a little bit more constricted and are now expanding back out?
I have been actually doing a lot of sort of deep dives. I've been learning music theory, learning to play one of the musical instruments that I have in my collection, I've been diving really deep into the Cantigas de Santa Maria and really enjoying those. In the SCA, that's really what I've been focusing on.
So what musical instrument did you learn to play?
I'm working on, it's an instrument called an aduf. It's a drum. It's a four-sided, it's a square double frame or double skin drum.
Mm-hmm.
And it dates back to 12th, 13th century, and it's largely a woman's instrument. And there's pictures of women playing it all through the illuminated manuscripts, the Cantigas de Santa Maria and so forth. And there are still in Portugal today groups of women called adufeiras. And they will sit there and they'll play these square drums and sing. So it's very much a folk instrument.
Why square?
I'm not entirely certain why. Mm-hmm. Except that there is connection to some of the Moroccan square frame drums as well. So it's probably a Moorish influence. Also, straight and square can sometimes be easier than roundy round.
Right. And so I'm sure you have to play it at the right angle. Welcome.
Thanks, Laertes.
You're welcome so much. I understand you're going to perform for us tonight. What are you going to perform?
The piece I was going to perform is one of my favorites. It's actually a Sephardic piece, and it's a love song. It's one of the very first pieces I learned in the SCA, and it's called La Prima Vez.
All right. Well, the floor is yours.
Okay. La prima vez que te vi de tus ojos me enamoré. La prima vez que te vi de tus ojos me enamoré. De aquel momento te amé, fin a la tumba te amaré. De aquel momento te amé, fin a la tumba te amaré. Acércate, mi querida salvadora de mi vida. Acércate, mi querida salvadora de mi vida. Descúbrete y háblame secretos de tu vida. Descúbrete y háblame secretos de tu vida.
Wow. That was wonderful. Oh my gosh. I felt like I should have a big bowl of pasta in front of me while you're singing. Let's bring Bjorn in. Hey, Bjorn.
I love that one as well. One of my favorites.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for coming on the show once again and sharing your talents. I do appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. I always enjoy it.
And we'll see you at Coronation?
Yes, because I'll have my crescent hat on, and that's a different job.
Right. It's different than a croissant hat, but
not as tasty.
True. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. That's
fantastic.
Amazing.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Have a good rest of your evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay, my
Bye-bye.
friend.
Oh my gosh. So learned a lot today. So that was fantastic. Anyway, so we're taking next week off because it's July 5th. Or what month would that be? That would be, oh my gosh, I didn't write it down.
Well, July or Quintilius, either way, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So
I do read the websites. I don't just look at them and then throw them at you. I actually do, read them first. So I try
and obviously I do too. So when we're back in 2 weeks, we'll have a guest. Who it is, I'm not really sure. We have a few things that we've been working on that we want to bring out. And of course, as it gets closer, we'll bring out the Great Western War stewards to talk about how we're moving forward on that. Perhaps we'll talk to Highland War steward for that. And we'll be traveling again with guests from out of Kingdom to talk about how things are coming along for them or the orders that are unique to those areas. How about on the Bardic side, Bjorn?
Well, we have a friend who will be joining us, one of the people that we got a chance to meet during the Bardic War. And so Eden will be coming to visit us. And I want to say the full name, but I'm afraid that my Scots Gaelic, my Gaelic is not as good as it could be. So I'll just go with Eden, and we will introduce her when we see her in 2 weeks. But she will be joining us for the 18th.
I mean, I'd pronounce it for you, but I don't want to embarrass you. So we're good.
I'm very thankful that you are right there to defend my delicate sensibilities.
So thank you, everyone, for watching. And as we talked about before, now as the kingdom is opening back up and society as a whole, we're still committed to bringing the show to you on a weekly basis, as long as people watch. So keep on watching, and we're here for you. We're not just sitting here because I like to sit in my room on Monday nights. So thank you for watching. If you like it, share. And Bjorn, it's good to see you, my friend. I'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Indeed, I will. And I'm looking forward to seeing you, sir.
All righty. And for everyone else out there, in 2 weeks, we'll be back when once again we will be live from Caid. We'll see you then.